You know that feeling when you close a door so quietly, so gently, that the click of the latch is the loudest sound you have ever heard. Yeah, that's not just a door closing, that's a whole universe shifting on its axis. And the people on the other side of the door, they are still standing there, palm pressed against the wood, trying to understand why it will not budge. They are not just hearing silence, they are screaming at it. And they are screaming not because it's quiet, but because for the first time in their lives, your energy, that specific, irreplaceable, golden frequency of you, is something they can no longer reach. They are trying to tune in, and all they are getting is static. Your disappearance didn't just hurt them, it unmade them. It's a spiritual checkmate that they never ever saw coming. Because honestly, how could they? They were so busy trying to control the narrative that they missed the page where you just took your name out of the book entirely. I want you to think back for me. You can probably picture it, right? The moment the whole game changed. It wasn't a big, dramatic explosion. It wasn't a screaming match. It was probably Tuesday. It was some completely unremarkable moment when you were looking at your phone or staring at a wall or just sitting in your car before walking inside. And something in your gut just unhooked. A quiet little click inside your chest. And you realized you were done. Not angry done. Not vengeful done. Just done, finished. The battery had run out. And you were not going to look for a charger anymore. It's a dangerous moment for them. That little click. Because they didn't hear it. That was your final word. Goodbye. And you didn't even have to whisper it. They were already deaf to it. See, the thing is, they finally thought you were weak. They really thought you were weak. I mean, really. Think about it from their rapt perspective for a second. They are used to a world of reaction, an eye for an eye, an insult for an insult, a chaotic text for an even more chaotic voice note. That's the game. That's the currency of power they understand. So when they pushed you and you didn't push back, when they took jobs and you didn't bleed publicly, they misread that completely. They thought you were weak. They thought you were meek. They thought you were broken. They confused your stillness with surrender. Their egos are built on a very simple principle: action and reaction. But you broke the law of physics they lived by. For every action, there was nothing. No clam back, no 3 a.m. paragraph, no subliminal post, just a clean, quiet, terrifying silence. They thought you were weak because you didn't fight back. But that silence wasn't a white flag. It was a shield. And every single arrow they kept firing just bounced off it. They were exhausting their ammo on a fortress wall that didn't even leave a stretch. And the only sound they could hear was the hollow echo of their own fidelity. It takes a strange strength that most people can't even fathom to do that, to absorb the impact and not redirect it. It's easier to scream. It's so much easier to forward the screenshots, to rally the friends, to post the cryptic story. That's a dopamine hit. That's immediate, cheap relief. But absorbing it, sitting there in your body while the hurt happens and deciding, this ends here, inside me, not between us. That's spiritual heavy lifting. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a lonely workout. Nobody is cheering you on for not posting that message. Nobody's sending you a voice notes saying, I'm so proud of you for leaving them unread. But the universe is watching. While they were busy slandering your name, looking for sympathy, twisting the story to make you the villain to anyone who'd listen, the universe was busy too. But the universe wasn't interested in the gossip. It was interested in the repositioning. It was busy elevating your rank, your energy, your internal stronghold, while they were out there giving a masterclass in character accusations, assassination to an empty auditorium. And this is where it gets really strange. The psychology of it, because on the surface you are gone. You've evacuated the building. You have left the chart. To them, it should be case closed, right? They should just move on. If you were so weak and so replaceable, they should be able to just shrug their shoulders and forget you. But they can't. They can't. And they don't even know why. They start waking up with a weight on their chest. There is an agitation in their skin that they can't name. They are scrolling past a funny video you would have liked, and instead of laughing, they feel a little sick. They are trying to have fun, and it feels like wading through cement. Do you know what that is? Let's call it what it is. It's spiritual indigestion. They swallowed the lies they told about you, and now their soul can't digest it. They are not screaming at your absence. No, no, no. That's too simple. They were not just screaming at your silence. They were screaming at the realization that they can no longer reach your energy. There is a difference. The silence is just the symptom. The energy is the cure. It's the life force they were feeding off of. Your empathy, your care, your attention, your pain, even the negative attention you gave them when you were fighting was a form of energy transfer. You were bleeding light into them. And now it's gone. The IV drip is pulled out, and they are going through a withdrawal they can't even diagnose. Their ego is panicking because the host organism they were parasitical to has suddenly developed an immune system. It's that panic that makes them start doing their really unhinged stuff, isn't it? The stuff that makes you look at your phone and just tilt your head. They are trying to find a key to a lock that doesn't exist anymore. You have got to understand. In their mind, you are still the person you were 6 months ago. They think you are just playing hard to get. They think you are upset and that if they just jangle the right set of keys, and a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of the threat, a little bit of a guilt trip, the door will swing open. So they post the photo from 3 years ago. They send the, "Hey, I just saw something that reminded me of you" text. That text at 1 a.m. They throw out the emotional bait, and they are sitting there, rod in hand, waiting for the water to ripple, but the surface stays glass. And that's the moment they start to realize that this isn't a mood, this isn't a phase. They didn't just break you, they just broke the version of you that they thought they could control. And that's the only version they ever knew. The shell is still there, the one they could prod and poke and get a reaction from. They are trying to manipulate a ghost that you have already shed. I can almost picture them now, when the bait doesn't work, they have to sit in the quiet of their own room. And that's a room they hate being in, because that's where the echo lives. Now they have to live with the loudest sound in the world. The echo of your absence. It's not just quiet, it's a noise. a ringing in the ears of their soul. It's the phantom vibration of a notification that never comes. It's the empty space on the couch. It's the realization that nobody is thinking about them with the depth that you did. They are haunted, but not by a ghost. They can flush away. They are haunted by the tangible proof of their own miscalculation. They are visiting their memories not out of love, but out of an obsessive need to figure out the exact moment they lost the power. They are playing their tape back. When did you stop laughing? When did your replies get shorter? When did the light in your eyes dim? They are looking for the off switch. But here's the truth they can't face. It wasn't a switch, it was a dimmer. You were fading out right in front of them, slowly, imperceptibly, and they were too busy adjusting their own spotlight to notice. And I want to pause here because I feel like someone needs to hear this next part. Your disappearance wasn't about being mean. This isn't about teaching them a lesson in a cruel way. This isn't about withholding affection to punish. We're not talking about manipulation tactics. We're talking about self-preservation. Your disappearance was you finally putting down the heavy weight of trying to be understood by someone who was committed to misunderstanding you. It was about finally being protected by your own light. You know, there is this concept of sanctuary, a sacred space. That's what your energy is supposed to be. But you'd let so many people trample through it with dirty shoes. And your exit, that was you building a wall, not out of spite, but out of reverence for yourself. You were saying, this space is holy, and you didn't wipe your feet. There is no anger there. There is just clarity. And clarity is the most brutal thing an emotional manipulator can face. You're not punishing them with silence. You're protecting yourself with peace. And if that peace feels like punishment to them, that's their conscious talking, not your curse. It's amazing how desperate the ego is to avoid accountability, isn't it? They will try to rewrite history. They will tell people you were crazy. They will tell themselves you were dramatic. They will cling to the narrative that you are just hurting and that you will come to your senses. That's the stage where they are still confident. But then comes the next stage. Denial fails. The slander doesn't make them feel better. The new supply, the new person they try to fill the void with, doesn't love the same way. Nobody texts them the same. Nobody sees them the way you saw them. And a quiet desperation sets in. They start trying to get creative. They will test the waters. You will see them watching your stories, liking a post from weeks ago, jumping into your DMs with something seemingly harmless like, "Oh, I thought you would appreciate this link about that band we used to listen to." And it's packaged as casual, but look closer. There is a tremor in it, a neediness. They are holding their breath, waiting for your reply, because in their mind, if you reply, that means the shield is down. That means the energy wire is reconnected. If you reply, even if it's just one word, even if it's just a lull, it means they can still get in. It means the door isn't totally sealed. But you see the message, you read it, and you don't feel the pull anymore. The hook that used to be embedded in your heart has dissolved, and you just close the app. That is the spiritual checkmate. That's the moment the game ends. They finally realize that the buttons they installed in you, they are dead. The buttons don't work anymore. They are pushing and pushing and pushing and getting nothing. And getting nothing. Because your quiet exit was a spiritual checkmate they never saw coming. And because you outsmarted them, but because you outgrew them, you simply moved to a level where their games don't render. It's like trying to run a PC game on a PlayStation. The code is incompatible. They can't reach you because you're not operating on their operating system anymore. And the most profound part of this transformation, the thing that really triggers the panic, is that you did it without an explanation. Think about how much we're taught to explain ourselves. Closure, hearing their side, saying your piece. We are taught that you have to lob your feelings over the net so they can lob their excuses back. And you can have a big, exhausting rally that ends in a tie you didn't even want to play. You skipped the rally altogether. The moment you stopped explaining yourself was the moment they lost all their power over you. Because when you explain, you're asking for permission. You're saying, Here is my evidence for why I'm living. Please validate it or counter it. You are becoming. You are leaving a door open for negotiation. If I can just articulate the pain well enough, they will have to understand. But no. When you go silent, you aren't asking for their stamp of approval. You are not giving them the blueprint to argue against. You are just gone. It's a declaration of sovereignty. And there is nothing more terrifying to a controlling person than a decision they don't get to debate. They can't gaslight silence. They can't twist the words if there are no words. All they have is their own reflection. And that's who they have been running from their whole lives. This is where the echo gets really loud for them. Because when you stop speaking, their internal monologue has to fill the void. And their internal monologue is not kind. It's accusatory. It's lonely. It starts asking the questions they have been dodging for years. Why do I treat people like this? Why do I only want what I can't have? Am I actually the villain? They are no longer fighting you. They are fighting themselves. And they are losing badly. They are trying to find you in other people, but they are only finding fragments. And that's the cruelest punishment for them. Seeing the hologram of you in a crowded room, but never the real thing. They know deep in the marrow of their bones that they will not encounter a soul like yours again. You are not just a partner or a friend. You are a mirror. You reflected back the potential of what they could be. And now that the mirror is gone, they have no way of seeing themselves clearly. They are just a blur, a messy, chaotic blur. But let me tell you what happened. What happened while all this noise was going on in their heads, in their head. The contrast is beautiful. While they were spiraling, grieving, and obsessing, you were rebuilding. But not rebuilding the old you. No. The old you was an architect's model for a house that kept collapsing. You went down to the bedrock. You cleared the rubble. You started slowly, methodically, brick by brick, building a foundation that no storm could shake. You stopped looking for outside validation so you could give it to yourself. You started taking your own breath away. You became the source. The shift isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a quiet Sunday morning, a cup of coffee or tea, a good book, and no anxiety in your stomach. That's the victory. That's the elevation. You look in the mirror and you don't see the victim they labeled. You don't see the villain they painted. You just see you. A little tired, sure. A little scared, definitely. But free. Deeply, deeply free. And that freedom is what they feel from a distance. It's what stings them. It's not that you are happy with someone else. That's what their ego tells them to soften the blow. No. It's that you are happy without them. You are doing the thing. You are living the quiet, gorgeous, stable life that they told you you'd never achieve without them. You turned your life into a soft, elegant sanctuary that they are not on the guest list for. And because you are protected now, wrapped in your own light, their chaos can't penetrate. They might try one last time, a big gesture, a dramatic, lengthy email, a voice memo filled with tears, a coincidental run-in. It will be emotional, it will be convincing, and it will be a masterclass in manipulation. But your quiet will handle it, because you will see it for what it is. Not love, fear. Fear that karmic wheel they set in motion has finally turned a full circle, and now they have to drink what they poured. A chosen one, a sovereign soul, someone who's done this deep work, doesn't need to seek revenge. No, their absence actually becomes the karma that burns the bridges behind them. It's not petty, it's physics. You thrown a stone, the ripples comes back, always. It's a matter of time. You take love for granted, you lose it. It's not your job to administer the punishment. It's just your job to save your own life. And you did. You swam when they expected you to drown. The bridge is ash now, and you are standing on the other side. Look back for just a second, not with longing, but with that quiet, knowing respect for the journey. They are still over there, in the smoldering ruins of a connection they thought was indestructible. They are still screaming. Can you hear it? It's faint now, like a distant siren. They are screaming at the shape of you in the fog. But you are not a shape. You are not a ghost. You are a mountain, immovable, silent, etched against the sky. Your silence is not empty, it's full. It's filled with all the words you never said, all the tears you never cried for them, all the power they handed right back to you without even realizing it. Your final word wasn't a whispered goodbye laced with sadness. It was a triumphant period at the end of a very long, very exhausting chapter. It wasn't a question. It wasn't an invitation for debate. It was the definitive, solid sound of the book closing. And you, my friend, my beloved friend, are the only one who gets to write the next one. They will have to live with the echo. But you get to live with the peace. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing louder than that. Be safe. Love you.